Love them or hate them, the NFL is full of bona fide divas. And in today's game, there is absolutely no shortage of them.
Antonio Brown was not participating in training camp practices, not only because of the frostbite on his feet, but because he's being forced to wear a helmet different from the one that he's worn throughout his 10-year NFL career.
The world of professional sports has long been filled with what the media loves to describe as divas, aka athletes who have more talent and money than they know what to do with and get a little bit carried away with their egos. So let's take a look at 10 of the biggest divas in the NFL right now. Even though he started to clean up his act, at least to some degree, Antonio Brown simply has to be where the list starts. When you think NFL diva, unless you're a spiteful New York Giants fan with a vendetta for OBJ, you're gonna think Antonio Brown. A.K.A. AB, A.K.A. Mr. Big Chest, A.K.A. the uber-talented walking publicity stunt who seems destined for self-destruction at every turn. I mean, come on, where do you even start with a guy like Antonio Brown? He has had a plethora of off-the-field and on-the-field issues. There was the infamous helmet issue that he had during his celebrity marriage to the then Oakland Raiders. You know, when he repeatedly filed grievances against the team and effectively forced his way out of town before ever even playing a regular season snap for the team, all because he didn't want to comply with the league rules that outlawed his favorite kind of helmet. And how about the wannabe rock star antics early in his career? Like when he was caught tossing furniture out of a 14th floor apartment, or when he was cited for speeding in excess of 100 miles per hour on a suburban highway, and the seemingly countless onslaught of allegations about his behavior towards women, which is unsavory at the absolute best and criminal at the worst. When it comes to Antonio Brown, it would honestly be easier to list the ways he isn't a true diva than the ways he is. After all, we only have so much time we can spend on one bozo in this video. That's because it's not just AB who has NFL general managers and media members spinning in circles trying to keep up with egotistical demands and behavior. The aforementioned Odell Beckham Jr. surely has his own case for being the NFL's leading problem child. He has mellowed out a little bit since leaving New York for the Cleveland Browns. Sure, there are the persisting trade rumors that follow him largely due to his questionable relationship with the team's former #1 overall draft pick and starting quarterback Baker Mayfield, which is actually a kind of funny turn of events because you would think that considering Mayfield has plenty of diva tendencies of his own, that the two might be fast friends. I mean, think about it. Mayfield has plastered himself to every marketing campaign imaginable, feuds with sports media members, and has in many ways made a meme of himself with the imaginary chip he carries around on his shoulder, even though he was a star in college and taken first overall in the draft. The Browns quarterback is just a couple of public scandals away from being a gunslinging version of Odell. But their relationship has seemingly deteriorated, kind of like Beckham's performance level, which has been mediocre at best. Something that I believe has spiked his frustration and continued to make him a subject of media attention and controversy. Well, that and of course there were the comments that Jay Glazer made on his behalf about him lobbying opposing players and coaches to come get me out of here. And what's crazy is that all that diva drama really pales in comparison to his later days in New York, when he was sprinting around the field like a lunatic, grab-assing with Josh Norman until it turned into a full-on brawl, or attacking the field goal kicking net, or any number of other microtransgressions that he compiled during his time as a Giant. It seemed like every other week it was some new public embarrassment, all because he couldn't keep his emotions in check. Yet another talented wide receiver fallen victim to his own ego. It is spreading around the league like wildfire these days, and it isn't just the wide receivers either. We already talked about Baker Mayfield. Even a veteran quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, who by and large has escaped any real criticism for it, has developed a pretty significant diva track record of his own. People are now starting to catch on though, which I guess shouldn't come as a huge surprise considering he's been all over the news in 2021. It's gotten to the point that his former GM publicly called him a diva on the Big Show network, saying,
"Say we got a lot of divas playing in that league right now." And the thing that I fail to understand is all these guys that are doing this have long-term deals. I just can't go. I can't believe that the game has changed.
And that quote came after he had mentioned Aaron Rodgers by name. With all the buzz swirling around the mercurial Packers star and his apparent discontent with the organization, the comments Wolf made really poured gasoline on the fire burning in their relationship. Green Bay's longtime quarterback has had his ups and downs with the organization over the years, but ever since the team drafted Jordan Love in 2020, his diva behavior has hit new heights, and it seems a divorce is imminent. Tack on the tabloid relationships over the years with Danica Patrick, Olivia Munn, and now Shailene Woodley, lump in the ornery disposition he carries with him in the media and on the field, then mix in the disastrous relationship he has with former Packers stars and his own family, and bam, there you have it, a full-fledged diva. Just of the quarterbacking variety, which more and more seems to be a hot new trend in the NFL, because Aaron Rodgers is certainly not the only signal caller to evolve into a prima donna with success and money. Russell Wilson was supposed to be the poster boy for the do things the right way kind of quarterback in the NFL, and he too has gone down the dark and shadowy path of diva theatrics. In fact, he was actually named first when Ron Wolf went on his tirade about quarterbacks nowadays.
There's a huge change, and it started with Russell Wilson, then went to Watson, and now we got Rodgers. And it appears that today's quarterbacks want to be more than quarterbacks. They're hired, in my time, they're hired to play the position, quarterback. That's what they're being paid for. That's what they're being paid to do. But these guys, they want to pick the coach, pick the players. It's an interesting dilemma.
It is not just the squabbles with the Seattle Seahawks organization or his alleged trade demands that has really established him as a diva in the league, or his sketchy pop star marriage to Ciara, who he may or may not have met while he was still married to his first wife and college sweetheart Ashton Meem. He's had pretty shaky relationships with key members of the team as well. Even when the Seahawks were at the peak of their powers in the early 2010s, there were always leaks coming out of camp that the other guys felt like he was getting special treatment, and that he was more of a me guy than a we guy, who was no longer jiving with the culture that they built when he was still a developing rookie. Now, to be fair to Russ, one of his consistent adversaries on intra-team drama was Richard Sherman, who has had a bit of a reputation himself. He has gotten into it with the media on countless occasions, and had a few viral sound bites that rubbed people the wrong way, which I guess is to be expected from one of the league's most relentless trash talkers. Either way, we at least have to mention the fact that Wilson was not the only diva culpable for the turmoil in Seattle. He's just one of the only key guys left there from that era, so he gets all the negative attention. With that being said, at least Wilson has steered clear of any real issues off the field. The sad truth is that for many of the guys that go down this path, they end up putting themselves, and more importantly, other people, in horrible situations. I'm looking at you, Deshaun Watson and Ben Roethlisberger. You want to talk about two guys that deserve every bit of scrutiny that they get? Look no further than these two clowns, who went all the way off the diva deep end into scumbag territory, facing serious allegations of assault from women. Even before things turned litigious for them, both Watson and Roethlisberger were well on their way to earning the diva tag. Watson signed a healthy 4-year extension in September of 2020, only to start demanding new deals, trade, and all sorts of other nonsense from management the following summer. Similar to what we saw from Melvin Gordon, who famously wally-pipped himself by complaining about his contract so incessantly that he decided to sit out training camp and the beginning of the season in 2019, only to have the Chargers discover that they actually had a better running back than Gordon by the name of Austin Eckler on their roster all along. Needless to say, Gordon was subsequently shipped out of town. Anyway, back to Deshaun, because there is way more to unpack beyond the contract. Honestly, the only reason we stopped hearing from Watson's camp about his discontent is because the legal battles started to rear their ugly heads. And Roethlisberger might be worse than Deshaun. The guy has been a performer in more ways than one for years now. Every time he gets dinged up, he puts on a massive production, hobbling around like a chicken with 2 broken legs, only to miraculously be able to suit up and play. There have been tons of people around the league, like Brian Billick and Bart Scott, who have made public comments about Big Ben's love for embellishment. He even pioneered a documentary about himself titled Bigger Motivation, in which his wife follows him and his doctor around while they blow smoke about how insanely tough the Steelers quarterback is, and yada yada yada. The whole deal is just insufferable.
Not a lot of a little discomfort, not a lot, but it's slowly finally getting better.
Going beyond the hurt not injured charade, he has also had his fair share of beefs with his teammates. In fact, he could practically fill a full NFL roster with all the teammates that Ben has thrown under the bus throughout the years. Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, James Washington, of course the coaches and front office as well, the younger players on the team as an entity. It honestly is pretty comical. The funniest part of the whole deal is that he seems to have no problem with his behavior. Just check out his comments in the Pittsburgh Tribune Review. I think I've earned the right to be able to do that with as long as I've been here. Great point, Ben. Everyone knows seniority gives you an excuse to be a jerk. Fortunately, not all these characters are bad guys. Some of them just love the limelight and have no problem letting the people know about it. Kind of like Rob Gronkowski. As much as he may be a fan favorite both in Tampa Bay and really around the league, there's no denying that he has some diva tendencies to him. I mean, the guy basically retired to promote CBD products and energy drinks only to come back and force his way out of New England so he could go down south and chase a ring with Brady in Tampa. That is top tier diva behavior. The only reason Gronk seems to get a pass on it is because he just owns it. Back when he was single and he was spotted out with a model or filmed partying it up, he just sort of laughed it off. And subsequently, the media and fans seem to laugh it off as well. Either way though, I think once you end up making appearances in the WWE or spotted with adult film actresses or taking copious amounts of shirtless photos, people are going to recognize you for what you truly are, a diva. But who do you think is the biggest diva in the NFL right now? Join us in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.